to the issues reasonably. What is your relationship with global supply network?
Mr. Chairman, I don't have any relationship.
Because you see, Mr. Chair, I am struggling to appreciate the fact that a ministry signs a supply and purchase agreement. You are not the ministry. You are not even the chief director. You are not the Minister of Defense. And you are telling the Committee of Parliament that the supplier was putting pressure on you by sending you text messages. So you see, this is how you people personalize public transactions. You personalize the transaction, so it became your personal burden. How many were the vehicles? In fact, if you can't tell us where the vehicles are, at least tell us how many they were.
Mr. Chairman, there were 6 vehicles.
Sorry?
6 vehicles, sir.
16.
6. 6. Yeah, 6.
And till date, Madam Chair, till date, we don't know where the vehicles are. So for me, my demand is that the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources should interdict this man. It should be interdicted.
Yeah, 1 minute. What kind of vehicles were you going to purchase for this?
They were Suzuki Grand Vitara vehicles.
Pardon?
Suzuki Grand Vitara vehicles.
So 6 of them for 4 point something million.
Suzuki Grand Vitara vehicles. 6 for pickups or
No, they are SUVs.
SUVs?
Yes.
Oh, okay, the mini. For 4.8 million Ghana cedis.
Yes.
What's the unit price? Divide that by...
So, what was the price for one, please? I mean, once this infraction you've been cited for this infraction, you should come prepared with the documents. Don't you have copies of the purchase agreement? Are the vehicles available? That was the question.
For now.
Yes or no, please. And then you can explain. Are the vehicles available?
Honorable Chair.
Respectfully, are the vehicles available? Yes, they are available. No, they are not available.
It's difficult to say yes and no because...
No, respectfully, sir, we are not joking here. This is a serious matter. You are questioning what the auditors have put in this report. And we are giving you the opportunity to explain yourself. And you are telling us that what? It is not, you cannot say yes or no. Someone who cannot say yes or no, respectfully, is lying. And that is why you cannot choose between yes or no. And you are under oath, remember. You have come to dispute the reports the auditors have put in here. You are saying that the stores received advice was not dated 12th October and that you have one that is dated December 10th. The auditors are saying the vehicles were not there. You said something contrary to that the vehicles were brought, you saw them, you inspected, you signed for them, and later you asked the person to come and take the vehicle away because the person said they were afraid, the supplier said they were afraid we wouldn't pay. And so you went ahead on your own to extend the contract. Now we are asking you, are the vehicles here? And you are saying you cannot say yes or no.
So where is the supply?
Honorable Chair, the vehicles are not available. I was at the ministry March last year. I didn't see the vehicles.
So respectfully, should it take your minister to answer a question that you are supposed to answer? You were the procurement manager. You went ahead. I don't know if you unilaterally extended the contract. Respectfully, where is the supplier? And we want to see the extension of the contract. 2, the 10th December stores received advice against what you are saying the auditors cited that you're saying it's not true. We want to see all that. And respectfully, the supplier, I'm told, well, it's here, is the Global Supply Network. Is that the name of the supplier?
Yes, Honorable Chairman. That's the name of the supplier.
Global Supplier
Network.
Supply Network.
Yes.
Okay, so maybe we would want to have a word with the supplier as well.
Okay.
Minister, respectfully, what is the way forward on this particular infraction? But we'll be happy to have the 10th December SRA, and I know the auditors will also furnish us with the 12th October that you disputed under oath today. They'll furnish us with it, and then we can also come up with recommendations. But Minister, moving forward, how is procurement of vehicles based on this issue that has come up? How do you go through the process to procure vehicles for a whole Ministry of Defense? That one person can sit in his office and determine when the vehicles should come in and determine when a contract should be extended, and that same person cannot answer whether the vehicle is in the ministry's possession or not. Unbelievable.
Honorable Chair, this is an issue that we were all surprised to hear about. And I think that the way forward is to put in measures that will prevent any future occurrence of any such issue. What I noticed is that the transport director or transport officer, manager, has not been on the same page on this particular issue, because I think per the arrangement, when goods are received, they are kept at the stores, which means it will still be under the control of the procurement director. But if there was an officer who had custody of the items, it would have been easier to get the story validated. Another issue is that I have seen the inspection report, but I do not see any pictures to see even how the vehicles look like and all that. And so it's also one thing that we must improve upon, so that every inspection must come with pictorial evidence of what exactly were inspected. So these may be helpful in preventing such occurrence.
Minister, please, respectfully, I want to find out who inspected the vehicles and then who signed the documents that they have received the vehicles. Who inspected the vehicles and who signed? But before that, I think the chairman for the day wants to acknowledge the presence of our majority leader. So I'll give him that space first.
You've already done it, so what do I say? We've been joined by our majority leader, Honorable Muhammad Yarga, leader of the House and leader of our government business. You are welcome, leader.
Minister, please, you can go ahead.
Well, Honorable Chair, when I checked, I think there was a representative from procurement, one from internal audit. I believe there were about 4. Stores and transport. There were about 4 officers that did the inspection. And the inspection happened, the report as I saw was 5th December. And the store receipt.
What year, please? 5th December.
5th December 2024.
2024.
Yes. And then 5 days later is when the store's receipt was issued, which was 10th December. So there's an inspection team, and there's also those that received it. That's when the receipt was actually issued.
Madam Chair, thank you. Now, Honourable Minister, let me find out from your Director of Procurement.
Former director.
Oh, he's the former director.
Yes,
Great.
he's now with another ministry. So.
How long did you work with MOD? That's one. And okay, he's still a former. So MOD, do you still work with this supplier in respect of other services?
Mr. Chairman, I worked with the Ministry of Defense for 7 years plus. And the supplier Mr. Chairman, for that, I can't answer that, whether he's still working with the ministry or not.
Now, when did you leave the ministry?
Especially, I left the ministry in May 2025.
May 2025. How long did you deal with this supplier?
Well, I can't remember the particular day, but he even supplied for us some batteries previously.
Madam Chair, we need to invite the store manager who signed the documents acknowledging receipt of the vehicles. He must be invited as well. He must be invited as well. I'll give the.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I think that it's also important that we contextualize this issue. The audit issue here is falsification of store receipt vouchers. 2, the vehicles in question were supposed to be used for monitoring of the 2024 elections and border surveillance. As far as I understand, this is so critical to the military. So even if you received the vehicles on the 5th of December, how come it took 10 additional days, 5 additional days for the store receipt vouchers to be issued? How come they weren't deployed for the very primary reason you bought them? So there are a lot of questions on this. And falsification of receipts at the Ministry of Defense is unthinkable. And so, Honorable Chair, I think there must be something else on this particular infraction. I invite you, the vehicles, we are told the supplier has taken them back from the military. Ghana Armed Forces. It's unbelievable. Chair, I invite you to do something about this. This is public finances and integrity of our military.
Mr. Chair, and also the committee needs to invite the officers who went on inspection of the vehicle. They also need to be invited to this committee because the 4 people that went for inspection of the vehicle to ascertain that they have received the vehicle, the committee will kindly invite them also to hear from them.
Honorable Chair, if you allow me, I think that I have to correct the impression. The vehicles were not in the custody of the Ghana Armed Forces. It was in the custody of the Ministry of Defense, and we have military protection at the ministry. I want it to be clarified so that...
Minister, is the same thing. Military protection. The military protection is made up of the Ghana Armed Forces. And we sit and watch, and this person claims we allowed the person to come for the vehicles. When we had signed that we had received the vehicles, unilaterally, we allowed the person to come for the vehicle. Minister.
I understand the enormity of it, but the clarity is that it was not in the custody of the Ghana Armed Forces. It was in the custody of the ministry. And as I have stated, the ministry has military protection, not to make excuses for anyone. Thank you.
Former, what was the title? Former Director of Procurement. What prompted you to suggest to MOD that the cars should be returned to their supplier?
Mr. Chair, what prompted me was the fact that the releases to pay for the vehicles was not done. and the supplier continue pestering, calling, sending messages and all that about his convincing that he will be paid. And looking at the situation, with my experience, I suggested to management that since the contract is still valid, let's get the supplier to agree so that we can extend the contract and let him keep the vehicles for us until funds are released for us to pay. So that in the case of having the vehicle, if anything happens, it will not be the responsibility of the ministry.
Okay, let me take your time. Was that part of your responsibility to advise management that they should return the vehicles? Or they should extend the contract?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
It was part of your responsibility.
It is part, I feel that it's my responsibility.
No.
I am part.
Is it part or you feel it is part?
Mr. Chairman, it's part of my responsibility.
It is part of your responsibility.
Yes.
Who signed the contract? The original contract that you came to verify?
The original contract was signed by the Honorable Deputy Minister.
Honorable Deputy Minister at that time?
Yes.
No, if the so it was signed by the ministry?
Yes.
You didn't sign the original one?
No.
So what makes you think that a contract signed by the ministry, you can alter it?
Extend.
That is why it's an advice I give for consideration.
Oh, Master. Look, the recommendation that they've given, right, is enforcement of PFM regulation 96 and 98. Oh, okay. Leader.
So, former procurement director, when did you extend the contract to?
The request for the extension of the contract came before the expiration.
My interest is not when the request came. My interest is in when did you extend the contract to?
It was extended up to May 2025.
So May 2025 were the vehicles delivered?
Yeah, the vehicles were delivered in December.
But you said they were delivered and taken back.
Yes.
So you extended it to May 2025?
Yes.
So in May 2025, did he bring them back to you?
No, he didn't bring them back.
Why?
Because at the time, there was no funds to pay him. You know, it was taken because of his fear that he would not be paid. And so as at May, when the first expiration of the contract ended, there was still no money to pay him. So again, the contract was again extended up to August, hoping that the process will go through, funds will be released for him to be paid. So, Mr. Chairman, that is how it went.
Has that been the practice, that a supplier will hold on to the items until he is paid? Has that been the practice?
It has not been the practice, but peculiar situations bring up issues to avoid. For me, my major concern was to avoid a judgment debt on the state.
What was a peculiar situation?
Peculiar situation in which a supplier will supply items and demand for them because the state is not paying.
Why were you procuring the vehicles?
Well, the vehicles were being procured for the use of the ministries in supervising the election and other activities.
When was the election?
Election was held on the 8th of December.
So the election was held on the 7th of December.
7th of December, sorry.
So when, after the election, the vehicles were not available, why did you extend the contract?
Because the supervisory role that the ministry plays still continue, over the agency still continues. So the vehicle with a lifespan of 7 years can still be used in future engagements on behalf of the ministry.
So I get that. So first and foremost, the object of getting the vehicle was to supervise elections. We are talking about just 4-point-something million Ghana cedis. And the government of Ghana wants that for elections. Why would a supplier who has been supplying to the ministry refuse to release, in fact, bring the vehicles to you on the 5th, and you didn't deploy the vehicles because that was the object for the emergency procurement? I'm sure it was an emergency procurement. Why will the supplier bring the vehicle to you on the 5th, and then you will wait? I don't know when you release it back to him again. You release it back to him, and then it is not used for the election monitoring exercise. Can you, we're trying to understand that part of your explanation.
Mr. Chairman, as I explained earlier, the vehicles, the ministry plays supervisory role over the agencies. And the vehicle was purchased not only for the supervisory of election, but could also be used for other activities. But the election was the immediate critical factor for which the vehicle was procured, or the ministry decided to procure them.
Yeah, so I have an issue with that. Then the second aspect of it is you extended the contract to May 2025.
Yes.
I have an issue with the fact that when May 2025 arrived, you had not taken delivery of the vehicles the second time, because you keep emphasizing that it was delivered, but then you gave it back. But then you're supposed to collect it back also from them by December. Then you extended it to October, according to you.
Yes, please.
No, he mentioned that they extended it further. From May. No, from May he extended it further.
To August, please.
You extended it again to August.
Yes.
So when August arrived, did they bring the vehicles?
Mr. Chairman, at the time, I was no more with the ministry.
The records shows that the vehicles were not there when the auditors arrived there. That's what the record shows. So it means that the vehicles were not delivered. But last one, you've been Director of Procurement for how many years?
For 7 years for the ministry.
Which procurement, can you show us procurements where you paid before the items were delivered? Vehicles. Show us which procurements you paid before the vehicles were, which items the Ministry of Defense ever pre-financed. Is it the practice that you pay before items you have procured are delivered?
Mr. Chair, under certain circumstances, mobilizations are given.
Yeah, so we know mobilization. We know mobilization. We know mobilization is a percentage of the cost of the item. So this is not mobilization.
So there hasn't been any circumstance in which the ministry pays any supplier before they deliver anything.
So you don't have any circumstances, or you don't have precedents where ministry supplied vehicles, paid the money before the vehicles were supplied. So why is this particular circumstance different?
Well, it's different because no supplier has come up with this kind of pressure on us before, has made a request after delivery and come to say that because of election, because of change of government, is not sure the payment to be made, and all manner of pressure. So I have to...
In spite of all that, according to you, he drove the vehicles and brought them to you, and the vehicles were in your custody. According to what you are saying,
Yes.
that he brought the vehicles to you, in spite of all the things you are saying, that he is not sure, he is afraid, and etc., he still brought the vehicles and handed the vehicles over to you. By law, the contract would have been fully established at that point when he delivered the vehicle to you. Anybody who releases the vehicles and sends it back will be stealing public property. Because you need some authority. He has performed. He's delivered. He's handed over to you. Now, you choose to give it back to him. That is a completely different regime of law. That is now divestiture of state assets. Divestiture of state assets. So the procedure for divesting us of our assets is different. So your story is interesting.
Madam Chair, I want to, Director of Procurement, what's your name?
My name is Frank Oliver Podo.
Frank Oliver
Podo.
Kodo.
Yes, sir.
Sorry? Frank Oliver Kodo.
Yes, sir.
Which ministry or department do you work with now? Have you been transferred to?
I'm with the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources.
Minister of Lands and Natural Resources. I think you should be interdicted for how you carried out your function as Minister of Defense. We demand that. Or you are not responding to the issues reasonably. What is your relationship with Global Supply Network?
Mr. Chairman, I don't have any relationship.
Because you see, Mr. Chair, I am struggling to appreciate the fact that a ministry signs a supply and purchase agreement. You are not the ministry. You are not even the chief director. You are not the Minister of Defense. And you are telling the Committee of Parliament that the supplier was putting pressure on you by sending you text messages. So you see, this is how you people personalize public transactions. You personalize the transaction, so it became your personal burden. How many were the vehicles? In fact,